They're giving you advice that's in their interest.
Oh, come on.
And I just go back to what I said to Chairman Rosevsky. This is not a plan for spending money. This is a budget to make sure if we have need for a certain consultant, the money's there. I would rather spend it on the nuts and bolts. I would rather have a better building than have more consultants.
But when you have it itemized, in your budget,
Yeah.
I mean, and knowing how government works, and I know how it works, it's almost like a mandate to spend it. You see, it is approved, and I'm going to tell you, believe me, I don't think that. I think that we have wasted too much money in consultants.
I agree. I agree.
And I don't want to waste that much money in consultant anymore.
Manolo, could you all, these are kind of estimates. This isn't all firm. You don't have a food consultant signed up right now, right?
No. We're only talking about the lead consultants, okay. Structural, mechanical, executive architect,
okay.
MEP, civil engineering, geotechnical. We're only talking about the
okay.
fundamentals.
Okay.
Let me ask a question here. I'm a member of the museum in New York, in the park, the Metropolitan.
The big one.
And there's a trustees' dining room, which is very popular. It actually makes money for that museum. And it isn't, with all due respect to my colleague, it's not an Outback, it's certainly not a McDonald's, but it is a moneymaker for the museum. Manolo, I think what we're looking at are upset figures. In other words, I think what they're saying here, by putting the figures in black and white where we can study them on a sheet of paper, that this is their plan, but they don't plan to spend it all. But if they should have to, it wouldn't exceed this amount. No, let me finish.
Okay.
I want to get to something far more substantial than the $2 million, and that is the long-range impact to the city of Miami. Right now, in today's paper, I believe, or yesterday's, the PAC is having problems operating. I have two questions that I think that people will be very, very interested in, and that is, how far along are you in your capital fund, and what's the percentage of that capital fund that will be going for the construction of this facility, and what is the percentage of that capital fund which will fund your endowment? In other words, your operating costs are incremental, they're yearly, and that's what eats you alive, not the initial cost of construction. It's the day-to-day, year-to-year operation. So if you could answer those questions,
okay.
Please.
The total project cost is $208 million.
Right.
The three principal areas of cost are the building and the sculpture garden, and that's $120 million hard and soft cost budgeted. $70 million is budgeted for the endowment. $18 million is for transitional, or what we're calling ramp-up costs. These are non-capital costs in the sense they're not bricks and mortar, but neither are they general operating costs per se. For instance, all the new hires that we have now, from now until we open, are on this transition or ramp-up fund. The inventory for the store would be from this $18 million. The money spent to develop exhibitions for the new building would be in this $18 million.
And the $70 million for the endowment, is that coming from private or public?
Then the sources is $100 million is coming from the GOB, General Obligation Bond. And to address your concerns, unlike a government project, more money is coming from private funds than from public funds. And my trustees, I can guarantee, when they see that list of $19 million, they want to kill me, okay? So I have a real advocacy on my side not to spend that money if we don't need to. This is not a typical government situation where if you approve the budget, the money just runs out the door. I'm insisting that we at least account for it because we're building in a very negative environment. People are saying, comparing us to the PAC, and they're going to be saying things like, why didn't you budget for an elevator consultant? Why didn't you budget for a food consultant? Why didn't you budget for that? So I want everything budgeted for. But I have a private constituency that has to raise $108 million. We have a project finance committee. They review every contract we sign. Every contract that we want to set out for this project is reviewed not only in the government processes, in the GOB process, where the government people look at it, but every contract has to be approved by my trustees. So I can't let a contract unless there's consensus both on the public side, government side, and the private side that it's worthwhile.
I have another question.
Okay, we have a very long agenda. Who else? You have another
No,
question?
I have another question,
Okay.
please. If there is a shortage in this building when you're going to build a museum, if there is a shortage because it hasn't been properly budgeted, or whatever reason it is, who is going to pick up that slack? If the city of Miami is whose responsibility is to see the project finished?
Aaron Potters, the chairman of our board, signed a document pledging that the museum would not ask the county for 1 penny more than the $100 million.
Or the city of Miami?
The only obligation we have to the city of Miami, the only funds we're requesting are the funds that were allocated in the Homeland Security.
And the
Okay.
land.
I mean, the one element in the proposal I should mention that is unfunded, we haven't figured out how we're going to build it, is the parking. And so we will be looking for legitimate city programs, if they exist, to help us with the parking. But as far as I know, there's no other anticipated request to the city for funds for this.
Okay, great.
The land is being rented from the city to the county.
Yeah.
That's part of the MOU. But this, I don't believe there's any anticipation that the city would participate in the construction of the building at all.
And to finish, I mean, to end, and I'm going to end, and I'm going to answer Ms. Bob Flanders here. I'm not as, what I'm saying is not as simple as saying that you have to pick between a McDonald's and Outback. What I'm trying to say is that a person that any franchise or any restaurants that want to go into the museum, then they will present a proposal which will be profitable to the museum. And anybody that is administering a museum or whatever other building or entity has to have the knowledge to present, or ask, or provide for an RFP, so everybody comes in and they will present the proposal, and the administration is the one that have to decide which restaurant is the one they're going to pick and which one is going to be more beneficial and more profitable. Mm-hmm. That's why I was totally against having a $100,000 consulting fee for a food and beverage director or something like that.
Well, and that's legitimate.
My mind is not that simple, Bob.
Manolo, that's legitimate. But what I was trying to illustrate is that a percentage, and I still don't know what that percentage is, the percentage of this money is actually coming out of their pockets, not coming out of the city's pocket. So that in this case that they are matching the GOB from the county, and they are matching the city of Miami's contributions. Incidentally, there was one thing left off on the total building costs that I would like to illustrate, because, and I know it was an oversight, not done intentionally, the 4 acres that the city is contributing on a bad day after a hurricane are worth $150 a foot. Actually, I've talked to real estate professionals, and they tell me that prime waterfront land in downtown Miami is worth about $250 a foot. So I did a rough calculation at $43,000. It's actually a little more per square feet per acre. At $150 a foot, that would be $25 million. At $200, it would be $32 million. So I would like to enhance the public's recognition that the city of Miami's contribution here is a heck of a lot more than what we show on this paper, that in fact the city is a major contributor just for the land alone. At $200 a foot is $32,500,000.